Even if your world falls down, get yourself up off the ground. And since you know the pain has its own path, just be strong because pain won't last forever.
Today, are you feeling a little alone? People's true colors are starting to show.
Bada da bang da bang da bang, diggy diggy diggy, set the jump, set up, jump the boogie. My name is Kid Rock. Wait, what? We're filming? That's probably not a good way to start this episode. Maybe I'll leave it though. This is dumb. It's St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I guess we'll start the episode that way. Although a better song from that era might be Ride With Me by Nelly. Hey, must be the money. Sorry, I'm not really a rapper, dude, in case it's not obvious. It is St. Patrick's Day. I am not at St. Patrick's Day parties today. I got invited to 2 different get-togethers and I turned them both down because I want to save the money. In this episode 9, the penultimate episode of season 1 of my Retinitis Pigmentosa YouTube channel called Get Yourself Up, is called RP Must Be the Money. It's not called Bada da bada bang da bang diggy diggy diggy, set the jump, set up, jump the boogie. It's Hey, must be the money. Which is an unfortunate and serious topic, so I have to get back into more of a serious mood to actually do this. Now it's middle of March. I've got some big expenses coming up, so last thing I need to do is go out on St. Patrick's Day and blow money on a bunch of green beer and stuff when I could sit home and drink Publix Diet Cola because I'm classy like that and frugal, which kind of goes along with this episode. My name is David. I am the host, although not with the most. I used to teach, then I moved to the beach. I'm living the dream, if you know what I mean, regardless of dealing with defective genes, RP genes, MS genes, anything but fashionable jeans. I'm barefoot and wearing shorts. There's a reason I wear a $3 shirt that I got at Walmart and $10 shorts. It's nice being in Southwest Florida. You don't need to spend money on clothes. But I'm not finished with my Dr. Seuss meets Dr. Dre rhyme yet, so I have to continue. There have been times when sadness I've felt, but I just keep playing them cards I've been dealt. Life doesn't suck. You'll eventually see. Not with MS, not with RP. I regularly talked during season 1. Like I said, this is the penultimate fancy word for second to last episode of season 1. So this is episode 9. I talk about my 5 domains of happiness. People wonder, how come I have these 2 lousy diseases yet I seem to be in a good mood? And it actually bothers some people, I notice on Facebook, if I post a positive response or message or something, that some people write real kind of nasty responses back about it when I'm simply trying to encourage people or motivate or inspire. There's nothing special about me. I'm just a regular guy. I used to be a teacher. I got put on disability and I had to figure out how I was going to manage my life for the rest of my life. I don't have a spouse that I can depend on financially or to get me from point A to point B. Transportation, I had to figure all that out on my own. I don't have any kids that would be grown and able to take care of me as I age. I'll talk more about them during this episode. But I just had to figure out as a guy what I needed to do with retinitis pigmentosa and multiple sclerosis, who all of a sudden had no job. And I could either let my life suck, or I could do my homework, move to the beach, found a neighborhood where I can get anywhere I want to get easily. I've met the most wonderful people imaginable. And no, I'm not going to apologize to any RPers out there in RP land for doing that. I've had people come straight out and tell me they were jealous of me for my lifestyle. I am nothing special. I'm just like you. My parents both died 20 years ago. I couldn't count on them for anything. I'm on my own, guys. That's just the reality of it. Yet I wake up in a good mood every single day, and that pisses some people off, and I don't know why. Other than some have finally admitted, well, I'm a little jealous of you. Well, jealousy, like envy, is one of the 7 deadly sins. It's dangerous. Don't be jealous of anybody. Just figure out how you can get yourself up. I am not a medical doctor. I can't give you medical advice. I always tell you, I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you legal advice. I'm not a counselor. I can't give you counseling advice. But I can tell you my 5 domains of happiness, which might change. I might add 1 or 2, might take some away. Who knows? This is all fluid in my world. First one's cognitive, second one emotional, third one social, fourth one physical, fifth one moral. If I can get myself up on any given day in any or more than one of those 5 domains, it's probably going to be a damn good day. And I'm going to be in a good mood. And that's why I do have a lot of friends that I met since I moved down here to Naples, Florida. I didn't know anybody when I got here. And I had to find ways to meet people. And so I was asked to do this YouTube channel. So that's it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. If you're jealous of me, then you need to look in the mirror and look at yourself to see what you can do to maybe make yourself happier, because I can't help you other than to tell you that it can be done. You can have retinitis pigmentosa, you can be losing or have already lost your vision and still be thoroughly happy with your life. I used to be on one of the fundraising committees for the Lighthouse of Collier County for a couple years and got to know a number of blind people here in Naples and Marco Island that are very happy, very independent, because they handled things the same way that I did, or a way that worked best for them. It can be done. Remember those 5 domains: cognitive, that's using your brain; emotional. Today I'm going to be talking about financial, which will be kind of its own domain, but it really fits under emotional, because I see so many posts on Facebook where people really are scared, and understandably so, and depressed and angry and frustrated, and I get all that. And oftentimes it comes down to money. So I have to also tell you, I'm not a financial advisor, but I can give you some input as to my experiences, how I was able to make things work with no parents. Like I said, they died 20 years ago. I can't rely on them for any financial support. I'm on my own, sink or swim, do or die. It can be done. I have an email that goes along with this YouTube channel, Get Yourself Up, and the email address therefore is getyourselfup1@gmail.com. I've got my cane right here. I'm not ashamed of it, so I get so frustrated. That's the one thing that does harsh my mellow, as we say at the beach. When I see people post on Facebook all the time about questions of being ashamed of their cane. Damn it, don't be ashamed to use the cane. Use the cane, avoid the pain, for crying out loud. This is not embarrassing. This is a part of me. All my friends that I hang out with, that I socialize with, if you see any of my other videos, they all know this is a part of me. When they're going to invite me to parties or get-togethers or whatever, they know I'm bringing my cane, and they know I'm going to ask to take their elbow, whether they're men or women, doesn't matter. They know that. Nothing to be ashamed of. That's not for this particular episode, but sometimes I have to go on a rant when I see people just bumming each other out and bringing each other down. It's like they get a thrill out of going on the RP support group, of all things, where you're supposed to be supportive of other people with RP, and instead want to throw a pity party understandably, we all need to vent from time to time. But some people just want to throw insults and completely diss other people's feelings or their comments. And apparently that makes them feel like they're a better person or a bigger person, whatever. You're not nice if you do that. You're just making somebody who already has enough of a challenge battling retinitis pigmentosa feel a little bit lousier. So knock it off. And those of you that are watching this are probably not the people I'm speaking to. It's the ones who refuse to watch this channel because of the things they have heard. And they aren't going to get the message, but you'll see it from time to time. I love the RP family support group. It's there for us all to help each other up. We're all brothers and sisters, so to speak, with retinitis pigmentosa. I have met so many people from that group that are really motivating and inspirational and fun, believe it or not. And then I see some people that are just downers. I don't care what your situation is. If you're a downer like that and you actually enjoy ruining other people's lives or trying to make yourself feel better by making other people feel lousy, I wouldn't hang with you. I wouldn't let you hang with me. If you acted like that at one of my parties, you'd be out the door faster than you could say, "I'm sorry." That's enough of my rant. Now I'm going to go back to the show. Give me a couple seconds, I'll be right back, and I'm going to talk about some financial things. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do truly believe that if you listen to a few of these things I'm going to tell you, it can help you out emotionally for planning, whether it be for yourself, depending on your age and how far along your RP has progressed, or if a family member or a loved one has RP and they're concerned about financial things, or you just have young children that were just diagnosed and you're worried about them, understandably, as a parent, as to what they need to do, because heaven forbid they might be on their own someday. And are they going to be ready to handle it? Are they going to have the money they need to live a happy life? They say money can't buy you love. But if you don't have it and you have retinitis pigmentosa and you make some poor financial decisions, it can be really, really frustrating, depressing, cause a lot of anger and jealousy. Those are all emotions you don't want to deal with. So give me just a minute. I'll be right back here. I'm not going anywhere. Nothing impressive today. This is just a straightforward conversation between me and you, although you're not talking back. Feel free to respond on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever. That's fine. But this is more of a monologue, just me randomly throwing some ideas at you, some things that worked, some that didn't. I learned what I know oftentimes by reading, back when my vision was better, and oftentimes by learning the hard way by doing the exact wrong thing. And so I want to tell you about some of those so you don't make the same mistakes I made. I'll be right back. Okay, so I am back to talk about a little bit money related issues. They're very important when it comes to dealing with retinitis pigmentosa. A lot of them are just heads up for younger people or people going through changing their jobs. I was very fortunate growing up in that both my parents were teachers. My dad was a music teacher, and so I got my music background primarily through him, and I used that as a way to make money to pay for college and, you know, just extra spare money on the side, playing in bands and different things. My mom was actually a business teacher, however, which meant she taught accounting, most importantly, typing, and they used to teach shorthand back in the day. And she stopped teaching when she raised the 4 of us kids, So we were one parent income family up in Wisconsin. No, I didn't come from a rich family. I wasn't raised here in Naples, Florida, which is a very wealthy area. It's not because of me. I'm a teacher that was put out on disability due to my retinitis pigmentosa. And so that's it. Both my parents died 20 years ago, so I can't count on them for any sort of financial assistance or anything like that. I have 3 siblings that live in different parts of the country, and none of them live anywhere near where I would ever want to live. So they thought I was crazy when I moved by myself to a place where I didn't know anybody, into a totally dumpy house, completely sight unseen. And I've been here going on 5 years now, and it's the best decision I ever made. So I have been asked to talk a little bit about how I made that work. Just a teacher put out on disability with no extra assistance. I'm not married, so I don't have a second income to help with anything. Transportation, I don't have anyone that I live with to drive me anywhere. I have to pay for my rides or have friends offer to give me rides, whatever. I'll go into more detail in a minute. But this is going to be kind of a hodgepodge, and I'm going to try to go quickly, because if I go too slowly, it'll get too boring. But just know I'm going to jump from one subject to another that might not be related, and then later on go back to the first subject, because I kind of just brainstormed some ideas. And so it is what it is. Think of it as a conversation between you and me, except that I'm not hearing you say what you're saying back to me. I'm just telling you stuff based on my information. I'm not a financial advisor. All I can do is suggest that you might consider sitting down with a financial advisor and going over your individual finances for the future so you can be prepared for retirement. My parents hammered home that for me before I ever started working in the real world workforce. When I got my first job at 12 years old doing a paper route, they made me save money from my paper route. They made me buy my own bike, my own skateboard. I was into downhill skiing. They made me pay for half of everything. They would chip in the other half or make me work it off, but I always was responsible for it. So they kind of hammered home the importance of money and preparing for the future. And then when I started my real jobs, my career, to put as much money away toward retirement as I possibly could. I didn't know I had retinitis pigmentosa. I wasn't diagnosed with anything. I just knew I was night blind. And so there were some jobs I would go apply for, like at a restaurant, and I'd go visit the restaurant and say, this is just way too dark for me to ever work here. And I'd turn around and go back home. So anyway, just some thoughts. I live in Florida. The laws are different in different states, so keep that in mind as well. But I just want to throw out some ideas. I made every mistake in the book, and I'm more than happy to share them with you if that will hopefully help a few people out. Goes like this. Again, I'm going to jump around subjects, so try to stay with me. I'll try to go fast because I have quite a few things I'd like to cover that I think could help you out. The younger you learn this stuff, the better. If you're a parent of a child with RP who's a little kid, you're going to be curious and ask people on Facebook message boards, what kind of careers should they consider? That's an excellent question. I'm not going to answer that on this episode because it could be an infinite number of careers that people with visual impairments can do. I always just tell people to do something that will make them happy. Then follow it with the financial stuff. Goes like this. Say you are looking for a job and you have 2 companies that are willing to hire you, and it's in an area that you want to work. Maybe company A says they'll pay you $40,000. Company B says they'll pay you $30,000. So, which job are you going to take? The answer is We don't have enough information yet to answer that question. Most young people would say, hell yeah, I'm going to take the $40,000 a year job. That would be stupid to take the $30,000 a year job. Not so fast, my friends. Like I said, as it was hammered home into my brain at a young age, learning from my mom, the accounting teacher. You need to go and find out what the company's benefits are in regard to health insurance, meaning medical insurance. Do they have dental insurance? All of that kind of stuff. If company A is going to pay you $40,000 but they don't include any benefits, well then you're going to pay your own health insurance. You're going to pay your own dental. Dental is expensive. It's gone way up in recent years. Health insurance, of course, has and always has been. All of a sudden, that $40,000 a year job, when you have to pay those things out of pocket, can easily drop to a $25,000 a year job. We'll even say a $30,000 a year job. When you have to pay $500, $600 a month maybe for health insurance, plus dental insurance, plus they sometimes offer vision insurance. When you add those up, you have to subtract that from the $40,000. Say company B that says, we'll pay you $30,000 plus full benefits. That means health insurance, major medical. That means dental insurance, vision insurance, etc., etc., etc. You have to find out. Disability insurance. There's a chance anyone, even you out there that are perfectly healthy, you could be in a car accident tonight and be disabled tomorrow and lose your job. Does your company, does the organization you work for offer disability insurance? That could really suck if they don't. So, all of a sudden company B is looking pretty good because that $30,000 a year job that offers all of those benefits, when you do the math, add that up, it's now more like a $45,000 a year job. It just doesn't sound like it. And young people don't get that point oftentimes. And I'm always amazed at how many people in their 30s and 40s and 50s don't even understand that yet. Oh, but I make $40,000 a year. You only make $30,000. Not so fast, my friends. It depends on the benefits that are offered. That $30,000 a year job could really be $45,000, as I said, and the $40,000 a year job could really be $25,000 or $30,000. It's up to you to do your own homework and your research and ask the right questions. Now, life insurance is another thing to consider. I don't have life insurance. I don't need it. I live by myself. I'm not married. If I die, who cares? Okay. My assets will go to my surviving siblings. I'm the youngest, so they'll probably die before me, but then again, I've got multiple sclerosis and I could very well die before them. Not to mention the RP. I could just walk out into the street accidentally and get hit by a truck and I'm gone. In my case, I don't worry about life insurance rather. Others may need to, especially those of you that are married. I'll get to that in a minute. Social Security. You pay into it, it gets taken out of every paycheck. After you contribute for 40 quarters, which amounts to 10 years, then you qualify at this point in time. Happens to be St. Patrick's Day 2018. You qualify for Social Security, and they do have disability, but it only pays like $1,000, if even that, a month. $900. It's not enough for you to live on by yourself. If you have a spouse that has a salary or has a pension, it might be just fine. But we know your medical expenses, which I'll get to in a little bit, are going to eat up that $900 to $1,000 a month really fast. So, don't count on Social Security. I was fortunate, the last organization I worked in, the one that put me on disability due to my RP, had great disability insurance. And that's how I was able to afford to buy a dumpy house a mile from the beach in Naples, Florida, and save up some money to fix it up. So now it's actually a pretty nice house, but it's still got a little more work to go. The point being, find out about those things before accepting any job. First, choose what kind of career will make you happy, then see what it really will pay in the form of benefits in addition to salary. Don't count on Social Security. It might not even be there, depending on how old you are. Right now it's like age 65. You can go on it early at age 62 for a smaller amount. It's not that much. I'm lucky because I work for a school system that does not participate in Social Security, and we have a better system. So my pension, even my disability pension, is much better than Social Security. And I'm not bragging by any means. And at the same time, I'm also going to tell you it's not by luck either that I lucked into that. I did my homework just like I'm telling all you to do. Before I took a job, I made sure what their retirement system was, how it worked, how their disability worked, what would happen if I did become disabled. Remember, I didn't know I had RP at the time, but I knew from my dad, who was put on disability from teaching music because he had multiple sclerosis, and he was close to retirement age, and they just put him out on disability. And since he was married to my mom, the accounting teacher, who was very good at handling money, when he got put on disability and then eventually regular retirement, they had more money than they had their entire lifetime, which is crazy to think about. But they finally could stop working and just enjoy life as best they could. Him with multiple sclerosis, her with being the caregiver, but they were financially in good shape, reasonably speaking. Next, I want to talk about something to do with relationships. A lot of you are married couples. A lot of married couples get divorces. It's sad, but I think too many people put more thought into their wedding day instead of the actual marriage and life that could go on and you want to go on for decades. We all want to meet the right person and grow old and die together. That's ideal. But divorce is real. Happens regularly. Are you prepared if it happens to you? Think about it. If your spouse just disappears, you no longer have two incomes. Can you afford your house? The smart thing to do is to only buy a house. If you're a double income couple, you buy a house that the person that makes the least amount of money could actually pay for. In case either of them loses the job, you don't lose the house as a couple. What young couples often do is combine both incomes and then qualify for the most expensive mortgage they qualify for, and they buy the house in that price range, and then when if one of them loses their jobs, they lose their house. If you get divorced, are you prepared for that? Do you have life insurance in case your spouse dies? Need to check into it. Enough to pay off your house? Do you need to take in a roommate? Some people own houses and just take in roommates, run out an extra room. Sometimes you need to do that. I've let 2 different people live in my house since I've been here, not because I needed money, but because one of them needed financial help for a short period of time and didn't have a place to live. And the other one is a graduate student at Florida Gulf Coast University who I had been friends with his parents for years, and he needed a place to stay for a semester, and I had a room that I rented to him for his first year on campus. And so it was an easy way for me to make some extra money but I wasn't looking for a roommate, and I'm still not, by the way, for the record. I just, I hate seeing divorces happen, but they do happen. The only people that benefit, as you all know, are the lawyers. Both sides lose money, lose property, battle over custody of kids. It can be a big mess. Are you ready for that? Are you prepared in case your spouse all of a sudden decides to leave? I hate to say that, but I know. Happened to my sister. Fortunately, she grew up with the same parents I grew up with, so she was prepared for it financially and lives very well. She's just not smart enough to live in Florida. She lives in Minnesota, so she's freezing her ass off right now. And I'm thinking it's funny. Not the divorce, just the fact that she's freezing. And that was many years ago. Okay, what else did I want to say about that? Oh yes, if you're looking at getting engaged, get a prenuptial agreement. That helps both sides. Sounds horrible. Some people still think of that as a dirty word. I guess it's 2 words. But a prenup. Be prepared to protect yourself. If you already know you have RP and your spouse decides to leave, or you decide you can't be married to your spouse, you need a prenup. Because the last thing you need to lose, in addition to your vision, is all of your assets, your money, your house, whatever. You don't need that stress. I talk about my 5 domains of happiness. In case it hasn't come through yet, the financial stuff I'm talking about in this episode, it's emotional, it's stressful. That would be the emotional domain. It's not social. It's definitely cognitive. You have to use your brain ahead of time. Could be moral on some level. Physical, no, not at all. Okay, divorce, watch out for it. Research a guy, Google a dude named Clark Howard. He's tremendously popular in Atlanta, does a radio show, it's syndicated so you can hear it all around the country. Just, Clark, C-L-A-R-K, Howard, H-O-W-A-R-D. Great radio show. I used to listen to him back when I lived in Atlanta all the time, when I was in the mood to spend too much money on some frivolous investment or thing that I thought I really needed or I wanted, but I convinced myself that I needed. There's a difference between a want and a need. I'd turn on Clark Howard and within 20 minutes I'd talk myself out of wasting my money on whatever it was, usually. The times I messed up were I bought too many cars. I used to drive. I haven't driven since 2009. But I'd buy new cars every few years just because I got the new car bug. And I'd always take out a 3-year loan, pay off the car in 3 years, and then I felt like I was ready to sell it. That was the dumbest thing I could have possibly done. I should have driven those cars for 10, 13 years before selling them to get my money out of them. But I didn't. I was stupid. So again, like I said, I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm willing to pass them on to you so you don't make the same mistakes. If you have retinitis pigmentosa, you consult your ophthalmologist, and if they tell you not to drive, then damn it, don't drive. You don't have the right to go out there knowing that you're visually impaired and cause an accident and injure or kill another human being. You just don't. It's worse than drunk driving in most cases. We all hate it. It sucks giving up your driver's license, but it's something we eventually have to do. So be prepared for that. And I'll tell you in a few minutes why that's not necessarily a bad thing. Talking about divorce, well, you stay married. That's expensive. Okay, do you need to live in a house that both of your paychecks take to afford? No, you don't. Do you have to live in a certain neighborhood? Do you agree on how many kids you're going to have and how you're going to raise them? Kids are expensive. $100,000, $200,000 you hear regularly to raise a kid from birth to age 18. If you have 2 or 3 of them, really, do you want to pay for that, or can you afford that? My parents raised 4 kids on 1 teacher's salary. Yeah, we wore hand-me-downs, and my mom cooked cheap food that she could get at the grocery store. That's what we ate. We never went out to eat. We didn't waste money on things like that. Kids are expensive. Some parents want their kids to go to college and feel like they should pay their college tuition. First of all, I will always say, as a former adjunct college professor, not everybody needs to go to college. You pick the career you're interested in and just get the education you need for that career. You don't need a 4-year college degree if you want to be a welder. Go to a tech school. Certain jobs go to community college, whatever. If you happen to have money and you want to further your education, I'm all in favor of that. But I tell people all the time, the point of a 4-year university is not to get a job. I'll say it again. The point of going to a 4-year university, especially a major university, is not to get a job. They're known as Research 1 universities. Like here it's the University of Florida, Florida State University. I taught at the University of Georgia as the adjunct professor. Those are Research 1 universities. I'm from Wisconsin. University of Wisconsin's Research 1. Their primary focus is research, medical research in a lot of cases for people with our eye disease. You don't need that degree depending on what, if you're going to be a plumber, why would you do that? It's a waste of money. But if you want to become educated, that's when you go to a 4-year university. Or if you're going into a career that requires, I was a teacher, that required me to go to a 4-year university. So I saved up my money, and my parents donated all of $6,000 total, and I had to pay the rest for my college. $6,000. That's not a lot, even back when I went to school. And I went and I got my bachelor's degree. I then saved up money for a year to get my master's degree, because you get a $6,000 a year pay raise with my first job with a master's degree. Then I saved up $27,000, I want to say, to get my PhD. That took a few years to save that up. But I kept getting paid more in the teacher pay scale since I had those degrees. Plus, it enabled me to teach at a university in the summer to supplement my income. So it made sense for me to do. But no, parents, don't feel like you have to pay for your kids to go to college. Be smart about it. Have them talk with their guidance counselors at school. See what kind of vocation interests them. Then determine what to do. Alright, health insurance costs a fortune. If it comes with your job, that's great. That is a huge benefit. Absolutely. Cars. I mentioned before, yes, it sucks giving up driving, but you know what? I like that I don't drive now. I purposely did my homework, bought my house in a neighborhood where I can walk everywhere, and I can take Uber. I can have an Uber at my house in 4 minutes, because there are so many things around here to do that people always want to come to this area, whether it's go to the beach or go to the Mercado for dinner or nightlife entertainment. We've got the public library right here, grocery stores, Walmart, state park, all within 1.5 miles of my house, which is why I bought my house here, even though it was a dump, like I said. As a result, there are Ubers and Lyfts, L-Y-F-T, which is the same thing as Uber, just different company. They're driving around here all the time, so I just go on the app and say, come to my house, and they're always here within 4 minutes, and everything I want to do costs about $5 to go do. If you're in a few cities in the United States, such as Las Vegas, I know is one, they have Uber for $3 to go anywhere. I have to pay more than that, but the things I do are always between $5 and $15, unless I want to go really far. But my biggest Uber expense for a month was $207 for all the trips, all the entertainment, all the different things, doctor's appointments I wanted to do for that month. $207. A regular car payment, if I had to pay for a car, might be $300 or $400. Car insurance, I don't even know what that is anymore, $150, $200, I guess, depending on how lousy of a driver you are. Gas, maintenance, repairs, you have to save up for that. I saw on CBS this morning they had some financial analyst on there a couple months ago that said it costs $700 a month to own a car in the United States on average. That's not even counting the car payment. That's putting money away for potential repairs down the road. I don't have to pay that. I paid $207 one month. That was the most I've ever paid. It's a no-brainer. I don't have to worry about getting speeding tickets. If there's a car accident, I don't have to pay my insurance company the deductible. Waste of money. I don't know why anybody'd even want to buy a car now, to be honest. Retirement. My school system offered 403B for retirement. There are ones that are 401ks. You can get IRAs, whatever. I won't tell you what you should get because I'm not a financial advisor, but you can probably find different podcasts regarding that, or just research. I told you about Clark Howard, about different options. My case with my 403B, back starting at age 22, when all my friends were spending their money, partying, and going out on fancy dates or whatever, I did my fair share of those things too. But I also knew, because my mom pounded it into my head, and I can still hear her fussing at me even though she's been dead for 20 years. Match whatever the school system is willing to put into your 403B. So, at times, depending on my salary, school system would put $500 a month into my 403B. So I matched it and put $500 a month in my 403B. That's $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 in a year. Over 10 years, that's $120,000. Just like that. $500, yes, that sounds like a lot of money, but I don't have a car payment anymore, remember. I told you I shouldn't have bought the new cars that I bought. I should have stuck with used ones, but I didn't. I was stupid at that time. But yes, if your organization offers that, take advantage of it. Are you kidding me? That's 100% interest. Your employer is giving you. They're going to give me $500 just because I put $500 in the bank. I'm going to do it, or in the account rather. And there'll be a max. They'll say the most you can put in is maybe $700. Well, then you put in $700, and they'll put in $700, and the numbers just grow exponentially over years. The stock market goes up, and then it comes down, and it goes up, and then it has a correction. Doesn't matter. It's a long-term investment you need to prepare for. Next topic, like I said, speak with financial advisor. Another major expense you definitely are going to have to consider is medical bills. You have retinitis pigmentosa, I have retinitis pigmentosa. Ophthalmologists are expensive. Retinal specialists are expensive. There is no cure yet, so they can treat and help us with our central vision as much as possible. That's still expensive. I have to get injections into my eye every once in a while. It's expensive. Fortunately, again, due to my employer, I was able to be put on Medicare before the age of 65. I'm much younger than 65. But as a result, I can take advantage of that and get a Medicare Advantage plan, which I have. And that helps tremendously with the expensive medical bills. Plan on $500 a month for medical bills. That's just the guesstimation. If you have that much, set aside $6,000 a year, and you don't use it, that's great. That's extra money for you in the bank. But if you're only bringing home $900 from Social Security, disability, and then you get $600, $500 in medical bills, that leaves you $400 a month to live on. Yeah, you're going to need a roommate. You're going to be looking for some room that you can rent, whatever, because you can't rent a place anywhere for that anymore. Medical bills are huge. I put them in the hierarchy of basically at the top, almost right there with my mortgage payment. If I don't take care of myself medically, then I'm going to die and my mortgage is no longer an issue. My family will inherit my house and my assets and whatever. My family being my siblings. I don't have any kids. But that's huge. But I take care of medical expenses first before I do anything regarding entertainment, having any fun in my life. Yeah, it's awesome living within a mile of the beach because I can walk over to the beach for free. And I can read a book that I check out from the library. They have a program, I can download a book onto my Kindle for free, take it to the beach and read it. There's a nice way to spend an afternoon. So that went into my planning when I moved out here. Remember, I wasn't rich when I moved here, believe me. A disabled teacher is all I was, just a regular guy, but I had a plan. Dental bills cost a freaking fortune. OMG. I had to go to a periodontist last year. To go to the periodontist in my network, and I have good dental insurance through my former employer, I had to have some work done on my lower gums, grafting, and he showed me a chart that said it would be $6,000, but since you have such great dental insurance, it's only going to be $3,000. I said, yeah, forget that. I had the $3,000, but I also had time and I have a brain. So I made some phone calls to other periodontists and spoke with my dentist about some other possible options that I could look at. And I called and went and had the consultation appointments and found a wonderful periodontist whose office was even closer to my house, who was out of network but did the exact same procedure for $1,300, not $3,000. So going out of network actually saved me money. So once again, 9 times out of 10 with your insurance, whether it's health insurance or dental insurance, you want to stay in network. But there are exceptions to that. So do your homework. Don't just dive right in. I saved $1,700 by going out of network for that one procedure. It took some time, took some homework, took some networking, researching, but it saved me $1,700. I think that's pretty smart. Socializing is expensive. Sometimes you have to cut back on that. Today's St. Patrick's Day. I'm not out partying today. I don't like going out on St. Patrick's Day. Even though I am part Irish. Bunch of drunk people hanging around, spilling green beer on me. No thanks, I decided to stay home and do this for you guys. But socializing is expensive and you have to prepare for it. A group of my friends and I are planning to go to Key West in July, so I already am starting to save up my money for the cost of that trip. As a result, why would I blow $50 today because it's St. Patrick's Day when I could put that $50 away and save it for going to Key West in July? Dating, of course, that's expensive. If you're old-fashioned and the man pays for everything, it gets really expensive, you men out there. If you're the woman and you're old-fashioned, it gets expensive in a different way. You might spend your money on the clothes or getting your hair done or whatever stuff that women do to get ready for dates. Anyway, it just does. And so you have to be smart about that. Maybe go on one expensive date a month and other times do something more affordable. You know? Simple. Not as glamorous, but again, the point is to make sure you have money so you can deal with your RP and don't have that stress and depression of your financial situation bringing you down on top of the fact that you're losing your vision. Okay? Be smart about that. There's a great book I read. I got a lot of information out from many years ago. It's called The Millionaire Next Door. I'll say it again, The Millionaire Next Door. And it's about regular people who drive regular old beater kind of cars and do nothing fancy. Their entertainment might be going fishing, something like that, with old equipment, but yet financially they're millionaires. And a lot of the people that live in the fancy houses in the fancy neighborhoods, driving the fancy cars and owning fancy boats, I see a lot of them around here in Naples. We have yachts everywhere. A lot of those people are in serious debt. Forget up to their eyeballs. They're drowning in it. Some people truly are really rich and can afford that. That's fine. But most of us aren't. I'm not, obviously. And I'm smart enough not to own a boat. Even when I could see and I could drive. BOAT stands for Bring Out Another 1,000. In case you haven't heard that. But read the book The Millionaire Next Door. Check it out at your library for free. Everybody should have a library card because they'll have large print books oftentimes. Books on tape or CD now. If your library doesn't have a book you want, ask them to get it for you through interlibrary loan. They can borrow it from a different library. No, I hate to break it to you guys. You ain't gonna win the lottery. No, it's not gonna happen. Forget it. Put that thought right out of your head. Put that dollar bill right back in your wallet. Don't put it on the counter at the 7-Eleven and buy a lottery ticket. You have a better chance of being killed by being struck by lightning than winning a lottery. I hear that so many times and everybody's being facetious and says, oh, I don't know, my plan is to win the lottery. And I'm like, okay, good luck with that. Don't worry, I won't ask to borrow any of your money when you win that huge jackpot that you're going to win. You're not going to win. And that cracks me up too. People buy scratch-offs. I won $500 on my scratch-off. Yeah, but how many scratch-off tickets did you buy in the last year to get that $500? You probably bought more than 500 scratch-offs. Especially if you buy 4 at a time or 5 at a time. It's not that hard to do the math, people. It's a waste of your money. That brings me to vices, as in things you love to do that you should not do. I have them too. Smoking cigarettes. Forget the health problems for a moment. This episode's about finances. Remember, it's RP. Hey, must be the money. Smoking, it costs like $6 for a pack of cigarettes. I hate smoking. I've never been a smoker. Playing in a band for all the years that I did, when you could smoke in bars, I can't even imagine how much secondhand smoke I inhaled. Musicians I played with, they all smoked. I just never wanted it. I was like, no. There was nothing attractive about it, but financially I was already having it hammered home, like I said, into my head from my parents. Why would you spend money on something like that? That's a vice. It's a waste of money. What's that, $6 now for a pack of cigarettes? So if you smoke a pack a day, $180 a month, you're flushing down the toilet because you're going to have a nicotine fit if you don't have your cigarette. Best way to quit smoking is to never start. What's my vice? I'm from Milwaukee, the beer capital of the world, so yeah, I like beer. But I drink cheap beer when I drink it. If I go to a craft beer festival or something, then I'll try the good stuff. You pay $35 to get in for 4 hours or 5 hours or whatever. Then I'll have fun with that. And I'll have parties at my house and that kind of thing. And I'll joke about it on different episodes of this YouTube channel, Get Yourself Up. But that's one of my vices, but I just don't overdo it. You know, maybe a couple on the weekend. If I have company, maybe. If I go out to dinner, this is always crazy too. If I go out to dinner and have a Coke, it costs $2.50 down here in Naples quite often. And you can go to the same time as happy hour, you can get a beer for $2. So it's cheaper to buy Bud Light, for example, Miller Lite, than to buy a Coke. You're best off just ordering water, but regardless, I'm talking about vices. Cigarettes are vices. Alcohol is a vice. Gambling, again, some people are just addicted to gambling. Fortunately, I don't have an addictive personality. The only time I place bets, is when I am 100% sure that I am going to win. In other words, I would never put money on a sporting event. That's stupid. I would never put money on whatever you call the things. I don't know. Card games, whatever. It's a waste of your freaking money, people. It's a vice. You don't need it. When I say I place a bet, I know. It's if there's a topic that comes up for discussion and I'm 100% sure of the answer and someone disagrees with me, then yes, I have been known often to say, would you like to bet me $10 that you're wrong? And 9 times out of 10 they'll say yes. And know what? I've never lost a bet. Never. So I guess I'm kind of bragging a little bit about that. But that's more just being cognitive. Don't bet on something that you don't know how it's going to turn out. But if you know the answer to something and somebody's willing to pay you or bet you $10 that you're wrong and you know that you're right, give it a shot. But you better have done your homework ahead of time. I mentioned earlier the library is free. Use it. Entertainment. You can get large print books. You can get books you can listen to. Cognitive, that helps keep your brain working. My case, it's also physical because I have to walk 1.5 miles to the library and 1.5 miles back. That's 3 miles round trip to get a book, for example, to read for my book club that I'm in. Back to marriage. I mentioned divorce being expensive earlier. What are you prepared if you get divorced? One of the things that has always driven me crazy from an early age is that couples, I understand they fall in love and they want to spend the rest of their lives together. But you know what young couples seem to do? Is they spend more time planning the one-day marriage ceremony than they do planning their entire marriage, which is supposed to go on till death do you part, according to the vows. Forget planning that. We're more concerned about what the font on our invitations looks like and what the cake is going to look like and who's going to sit near who. Not the fact that it's going to cost us a fortune and you have retinitis pigmentosa, so your medical bills are not going to be cheap. Forget about that. It's not surprising that the millennials these days are holding off and staying away from getting married. They still have kids, so they're still dealing with kids financially and the lawyers involved with custody, but they're often staying away from getting married. I think a lot of it has to do perhaps with the fact that so many people in Generation X and the baby boomer generation prior to that got divorced and they grew up in that environment and don't want to go through that themselves. That's just a thought. It's probably not right, but whatever. That's not the point. The point is, if you are going to get married and you have retinitis pigmentosa, please spend more time planning the actual marriage than just the one-day wedding ceremony. Be smart. I had a break-in at my last house in Atlanta. that was one of the signs that it was time to move and look for a house in a different location. Not to mention the fact that I lived nowhere near public transportation. I had to walk 4 miles to the grocery store, 4 miles back home. I learned that liquids are heavy to carry 4 miles. Whether it's a 12-pack of Coke, 12-pack of liquid drink, Coke, beer, weighs 9 pounds. Plus it's in that stupid little carton that tears on the way. I learned that it rains in Atlanta every day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Carrying wet groceries home is not fun. I learned that I had MS, so I was no longer able to walk the 4 miles either direction. So that was out. I had to move. But on top of that, I had a break-in while I was actually down here looking at real estate. My house got broken into. I had $12,000 worth of belongings stolen, plus my car was stolen. How ironic was that, because I had given up driving the year before that and it was just sitting in my car and I was waiting to sell it. The point is, it's just stuff. The ironic part, on top of the first ironic part, is the cops actually found my car. I didn't want them to find my car. I would have rather just gotten a check from my insurance company paying for the lost or the stolen car. But they found that. It was all the other stuff that was stolen. Musical instruments, my computers, $12,000 worth of stuff, gone. And it happens. Are you prepared for it? I had a $1,000 deductible I had to pay. Fortunately, I had the $1,000 and got my stuff back. The unfortunate thing is that when all that was taken care of, I replaced all the stuff that was stolen when I lived in Atlanta, and then I was told 1 month later that I was going to be officially put on long-term disability and could move anywhere I wanted to. Had I known that, I would have just put the money in the bank and waited till I moved here to Naples, found a house, and just rebought the stuff here rather than to buy the stuff there, put it in storage for months and months, and then have the U-Haul. A friend of mine drove the U-Haul all the way down here. Again, one of the things I screwed up, it was stupid, but when it happens to you, when you have a break-in and you lose all your stuff, you want to replace it quickly. And you don't want to have to be scrambling around to find the money to pay the deductible to replace whatever gets damaged or stolen. And I guess the last thing I'll talk about in this particular episode, the penultimate episode 9 of season 1, RP, Must Be the Money. That's from a song by Nelly, by the way. Hurricane Irma hit this house head on. September last year. However many months ago that was. October, November, December, January, February, March. 6 months ago now. Thank God for my neighbors across the street who told me years ago, I moved here about 4.5, 5 years ago now, that I should get hurricane shutters, and to get the cheap ones. They work just as well. They just don't look as pretty as the fancy ones that you can, have come down automatically, electronically, whatever. Mine are just aluminum metal panels that you put up on the sides of covering all your windows and doors with wing nuts. Nothing fancy. But thanks to my neighbors telling me that and telling me where I could get them for the cheapest price, I think I paid $1,800 total for all my windows, all my doors, everything. So I was able to get them up myself, except for I had help with the 2 big windows out front. I had no damage. Hurricane Irma, nothing. And I was just lucky. But I often say it's about networking, being good to other people, making friends with people, because you're never going to know when you're going to need their help. I always talk about help others that are worse off than you. And it just so happens that the neighbor who told me about the place to get the hurricane shutters, he's on disability. His wife just retired on disability. He has a daughter who's on disability. They're worse off than me. But because I was nice to him and I'm nice to all of them, they've been very nice to me, and when I need help or suggestions, advice, I know exactly who to go to get most of it. So, yeah, I survived Hurricane Irma. I survived a break-in at my house in Atlanta. No, I've never gotten married yet. Hopefully someday I will. But if I do, I'm going to spend more time planning the actual marriage than the wedding day itself. Sorry to whoever my future bride might ever be. We're going to have that talk. Finances. We're going to have a prenuptial agreement. If we have kids, we're going to have that discussion about retinitis pigmentosa. Are you comfortable with that? If not, we might not have kids. I don't know. Who knows what's in my future? But I do know that socializing and dating are expensive, and I have to be smart about it because there's no one I can turn to if I run out of money. I just don't have that option. So again, hopefully some of you got a little bit of the information out of this random, chaotic, almost a lecture, I guess. It wasn't that well organized, but maybe you got a bit of advice that you can benefit from, or if not, you can tell your kids about. Make sure they start planning for retirement and for potential disability, even if they're healthy, at a very young age. And be smart about their education. Don't waste money on a 4-year university if you're going to be a plumber. If you'd be happy doing that, great. We need good plumbers. That's one of the best jobs ever. We're always going to need plumbers. We're always going to need electricians. Well, unless solar takes over everything. You just don't know. I guess that's about it. So when people ask whether or not I grew up wealthy and that's why I can afford to live near the beach in beautiful Naples, Florida, that has the most millionaires and billionaires per square mile in the United States, whatever. No. I grew up in a family of 6 with 1 teacher's salary. My dad was on disability with MS. My mom was the youngest of 7 kids. Her dad died when she was 12. That's where I come from. I was a teacher with retinitis pigmentosa, which put me out on disability, and later was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. That just added to my medical bills and shortened my distance that I can walk even with my white cane. And that's my story. Financially, thank God, Mom. I can still hear you in my head, pounding it in there about the importance of planning for retirement. And my dad as well, for my music background, because that helped supplement my teaching income for a lot of years and pay my way through school to get those degrees. So, thank the good Lord for them. And although they both passed away 20 years ago, I want to pass what I learned from them on to you guys. Hope it helps. I hope I didn't offend anybody with anything. I don't mean to. I had no intention whatsoever. I just wanted to be real. And yeah, divorce is real. It's unfortunate. Insurance is expensive. That's real. Sucks. Cars are expensive. Losing your license sucks. But then it's one of those things. I found a way to turn it into a positive. I'm like, are you kidding me? I have so much money more now each month because I don't have car payments, maintenance, gas, insurance. If I need to go somewhere, usually my friends just call and ask me if I need a ride because we're all going to the same place. Or if not, I just call Uber or Lyft. Read the book, The Millionaire Next Door. Google the guy named Clark Howard, the radio host from Atlanta, Georgia. You'll learn a lot from him. If you're in the middle of searching for a job or considering going with certain companies or organizations, make sure you do the math with their benefits. A $30,000 a year job can actually pay off better than a $40,000 a year job. No questions asked. Anyway, that's enough of me talking for now. I'm out. Again, if you want to get in touch with me about anything, feel free to send me an email to getyourselfup1@gmail.com. Getyourselfup1@gmail.com. And I'm out of here. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Have a good one. Be good and take care of people who are worse off than you.
Even if your world falls down, get yourself up off the ground. And since you know the pain has its own path, just be strong because pain won't last forever.
Today, are you feeling a little alone? People's true colors are starting to show. Did you get dumped by that special someone? Or much worse off, did you lose a dear loved one? So are you feeling really down today? Cause you just learned your best friend passed away. Yet all the bullies are having a parade, and you feel like no one will ever come to your aid. Infuriated, incapacitated, so deflated, frustrated, and often just hated. Unappreciated and unmotivated, so alienated, just plain devastated. Heart's been confiscated, feel so separated, life's too complicated, rather just get sedated. It's not that you fall down, it's how you get yourself up. Get yourself up, 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 get yourself up. So I don't like the way that I look today. Consider myself lucky, worse could be on the way. So I think about those who are really in need, and I try to help them out as I rethink my creed. Intrinsic motivation is all that it takes, so I don't wait for others to fix my mistakes. Don't wait for an invitation, it won't arrive. It's only up to me to make myself feel alive. Infuriated, incapacitated, so deflated, frustrated, and often just hated. Unappreciated and unmotivated, so alienated, just plain devastated. Heart's been confiscated, feel so separated, life's too complicated, rather just get sedated. It's not that you fall down, it's how you get yourself up. Get yourself up, 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 get yourself up. You got some really sad news today, dealing with a really heavy heart. You're keeping it all inside yourself, and it's starting to tear you apart. If your friends don't help you with serious stuff, they're probably not real friends at all. Look in the mirror and then ask yourself, are you really heeding my call? So be the good friend you know you should be. There are people worse off than you'll ever be. They need your help, so lend them a hand, then someone will help you and you'll understand. So elevate, invigorate, whatever their problem, help dominate. Someday looking down from up above, it's not how they fall, it's how you help them up. Get yourself up, get yourself up.